Good morning, USA. Welcome to the Bernie or Bust Show, where we're unshaved, unbathed, unedited, and unscripted. And always trying to start shit. Speaking to that, I want to go right to a new video I bumped into. Actually, Victor, Tiffany, that was Victor right there. Did you see him? This video explained inside the corporate coup d'etat that's created a new gilded age. I'm just going to show you a little bit of this one. He's talking about Youngstown, Ohio. He's talking about how people in the middle of the country who were excited about Bernie voted for Trump instead. And also about how the economics is what drives it. NAFTA in particular is what drives this movement. It's the economy, stupid. It's still the economy, stupid.
What's fascinating about Youngstown, Ohio is we interviewed these workers who'd voted for Obama. They'd been Democrats. Some of them voted for Bernie in the primary over Hillary in the Democratic primary in Ohio, and then they flipped to Trump. And if you could describe in one word why, that word is NAFTA.
NAFTA.
That they saw, as you were saying, Clinton was selling free trade. Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to help other countries buy our products. No union, no environmental group, no consumer group believed that crap when Bill Clinton was selling it. And the people in Ohio don't buy it. And Hillary basically got defeated in several states because of NAFTA and the connection of the Clinton administration to NAFTA. And now you have these same forces in the corporate media, corporate forces within the Democratic Party trying to push Biden as the solution. And Biden, of course, was in that half of the Democratic senators that joined all the Republicans and voted for NAFTA.
Yep.
And Donald Trump in Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin and Western Pennsylvania, if Biden is the nominee, it'll be NAFTA, 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 like it was back in 2016 against Hillary.
Yeah. And the problem is the economy. And this guy is good at that. I've got someone else here, too, that's good at it. Thomas Piketty. I'll put this video in the information section below. Here's a quote from the video. So the market economy is great at producing new wealth, but sometimes it can be quite bad at generating distribution of wealth that is equitable in the long run. So it's great to have entrepreneurs. It's great to have new wealth being formed, but this has to be compatible with the size of the world economy. If the top of the distribution is rising 3 or 4 times faster than the world economy is rising, if you have that during the next 50 years, basically all the wealth will belong to a very small international elite, and there will be no wealth in the middle class anymore, which is simply not compatible with our democratic and meritocratic values. We believe that when people work hard, when they're talented, they should be able to get ahead, and they ought to be able to enjoy a bigger percentage of their own productivity and not give it all to the wealthy 1%. Vishwa Ghosh said in the comments of that video, I'll go to the second part of his comment. Good luck to those who believe that their wealth was built on their own talents. To them, I will suggest do spend some of your leisure time to read Michael Lewis's Moneyball, and I'm going to. And I'm going to read Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty that the video was talking about. And I'm also reading Dean Baker's Rigged, How Globalization and the Rules of the Modern Economy Were Structured to Make the Rich Richer. I just discovered this morning that this whole book is available for free. I was busily typing quotes from the book. I had my my beautiful reading glasses on, and I was looking at this book, Rigged. I bought it online, which I wouldn't tell you not to do because it's nice to hold the book. And I was typing, and I was trying to figure out, how do I get this graph in here? I want to talk about this graph, and lo and behold, put my Walmart reading glasses away. I'm embarrassed to say I bought them from Walmart. I should not have. Anyway, the book is on the internet with that graph that I wanted to show you. So let me go next to the book, and then I'll be done here. He talks about figure 2.1, which I'll scroll down to in a second. It shows the share of income without capital gains going to the top 1% of tax filers was relatively stable in the period between 1950 and 1980. And that's this part of the graph. So in that time period, the 1%ers made between 7 and 11% of all the income, which is bad enough if you think about it. But it turns around and begins to climb. In 1980, it's 8.2%, 13% in 1990, and 16.5% in 2000. In 2007, just before the downturn, it was 18.3%, and it's remained at about that level. If you look again, it's remained squiggling, but he calls it a plateau because the average of this part of the graph is about 18.3%, 18.9% in 2012. This means that the share of the 1% has more than doubled. How much of the pie the 1% get has more than doubled since 1980, since that period between the 50s and 1980. Measured as a share of total income, this increase is roughly 10 percentage points. Let's put that in perspective. This would be sufficient to increase the income of everyone in the bottom 90% of the income distribution by more than 20%. It would be almost enough to double the income of the bottom 40%. In short, this upward redistribution has had a substantial impact on the living standards of the rest of the population. That's what Bernie Sanders is addressing, and that's why no other politician, especially any that are acceptable to Third Way, David Cowan, or John Cowan, president of Third Way, David Brock, his minion, none of those mouthpieces, sock puppets of the hedge fund managers and central bankers and other corporate transnational powers, none of the candidates acceptable to them are going to help with this problem. This book is simple enough to read, but you really do have to go slowly and pay attention as you're going. But unless we understand economics, we're not going to understand why neoliberalism is awful. We're not going to be able to have our conversations at the water coolers and get our unions stronger. We're not going to be able to do any of the things that we need to do unless we really understand what George Carlin was trying to say. They don't give a fuck about you. The owners, the wealthy owners, they don't care. They're not trying to help us. And as long as we keep accepting their politicians, they're paid for politicians, we're never going to escape this trap. I think I'll put that George Carlin video in the information section too. He's definitely worth checking out if you haven't. And if you love George Carlin as much as I do, you'll want to watch that video again. All right then, keep on burning. See you tomorrow.